Hi everyone, welcome to day 15 of my 30-day coding challenge where I'll try to learn to code a website in 30 days. This was day 15, that means half of the time that I have allocated for the challenge has passed. And let's just see what I learned in that in the last 15 days. It was mostly I started with HTML and CSS, then went deeper into JavaScript. Today it was supposed to be the last day for JavaScript, but it feels like I'll still have to stretch my JavaScript learning for one more day because there are still a few modules I need to learn in the course that I'm doing. So it's going to stretch for tomorrow as well. Today I went deeper into JavaScript, learned a few concepts called modules, object-oriented programming, and also how you can test your code. So a few testing frameworks as well. It wasn't quite syntax heavy. Fortunately, I have not been introduced to new syntax now, so it's mostly the old syntax that I have learned so far. I've been practicing those. Even in those frameworks, it's not like I've been getting introduced to a number of new syntax every day. It's just that making use of those functions and trying to call them in a different way, or making use of the syntax that I already know and making it more complicated means like nesting a few functions together or organizing your code in such a way that makes much more sense. So this is what happening right now. That's why I felt a little bit overwhelmed initially first 3 4 days of the course. Now it is more about like organizing your code or making sure that the code performs better and it's easy to read. So that's what today was all about. And tomorrow we're going to go into classes, inheritance, and then there will be some intro to backend callbacks and async await. So I guess that's going to help me into the next phase of my learning, which would be either learning about how to do backend development or learn about some database query language. So that's what I need to decide next. Today is what it was mostly about, like getting comfortable with JavaScript syntax, which I feel like I'm like the good thing is that now I have gotten the intuition of like, I can sort of plan the next steps. Once you understand the role of JavaScript, it becomes much easier to basically visualize your web page or whatever you're trying to code, because it all follows the same structure. First, you save the data, then you generate the HTML using JavaScript, and then you make it interactive using JavaScript as well. So whatever you see in JavaScript web page, that's what each of these web page follows. So once you get comfortable with this structure, I guess coding or working with JavaScript becomes a little bit easier. So yeah, can't wait to finish the course and move on to something else, because I feel like last 6 7 days have been quite turbulent in the sense of like I started pretty confidently coming after HTML and CSS, and then for first 3 4 days I struggled with the syntax. I struggled without predictive capability of VS Code, but now I've gotten a little bit used to it. But also like it has become a little bit monotonous in terms of learning the same thing for 6 7 days. Yeah, really excited to move on to something else. I'm quite sure of that. Obviously, like I haven't mastered the JavaScript in a traditional sense, like, but I know I can at least read the code. I can understand what a particular function is trying to do. I can understand the structure of the web page, and I can also understand like how it's making itself interactive, like how when we press a particular button or when we press a particular click, what's happening behind the scene. So at least that part I'm comfortable with. Obviously, I'll still have to Google a few of the functionalities or syntax if I'm stuck. But good thing is like, I mean, hopefully during the last week when I'll try to do my own project, I'll be working with Cursor or Cloud Code. I haven't used them before, so I don't know about their capabilities in full, but I'm assuming like, I mean, I would get some help from those tools as well, so that I do not have to completely rely on my understanding of the syntax or my uh, recalling ability of the syntax. So hopefully that would help me in the later phases of my challenge. So that's my hope. Looking forward to tomorrow, finally getting done with JavaScript and moving on to something else. As far as backend is concerned, I haven't been able to like look into anything apart from JavaScript. So I'll probably do the research tomorrow and see what sort of language or what sort of what course I'll be picking up for backend. That's I'll probably gonna decide tomorrow, and once I'm done with the JavaScript, and hopefully will revise my plan, because now I'm running about one and a half day later into the challenge. This was supposed to be done yesterday, but I guess JavaScript took longer than I anticipated. So I'll revise my timeline, or hopefully try to gain a day or so while I'm doing backend. But yeah, I still have to look into that. So backend research and JavaScript completion we'll have to do tomorrow, and we'll see what I pick up for backend. Well, thank you very much for joining in today. And as always, I really appreciate your support, you watching the videos. If you have any feedback, or if you have any advice for me, what can I do for JavaScript, or even for the project that I'm going to undertake, if you have any advice like what I can try to build. Obviously, I mean, it needs to be fairly complicated so that it can engage my learnings, but also not overly complicated that, I mean, it would require a complete different set of skills which I probably haven't been able to acquire in last 2 weeks or so. If there's a project that I can undertake, or if there's something that I can do differently, I'm all ears for that. And otherwise, thanks again for joining in, and I will see you tomorrow.